I had a wonderful opportunity yesterday, Humphrey, to spend some quality time with my daughter, Alicia. Um, we used to do it almost every morning until, you know, um, life started happening, work, um, and my physical condition kind of got in the way of that too. Um, if you meet Alicia, you'll notice that there is something different about her. You can just stand in the room and sense it. Um, now she's a nice person, Terry, but let me tell you something. Alicia doesn't deal with a whole lot of foolishness. Um, she isn't messy. She's not one that's gonna come to you and gossip. Um, and she doesn't look to put people down in order to lift herself up. She just puts her head down and she works hard. Um, and she doesn't live her life comparing it to other people, but it seems like there's always somebody trying to compare their life to her. Um, she was attacked this summer just for being different by family, more than one. More than one. I know some people who think they don't know they did what they did, but I know what they did. It's just I choose not to say anything. But she notices how people treat her and look at her differently, and it has hurt her feelings from time to time. I've sat in a room with her and watched tears well up in her eyes, and she's like, I wonder why my own family treats me this way. And I told her, I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about that. Now, let me tell y'all something. I know I'm always talking about my family, y'all, because that's the people I can relate to the most. Now, my family is far from perfect, Terry. But for some reason, I can say this with confidence. We have been set apart. If you're around us for a little bit of time, you will see that God's favor is definitely upon us, for one. And you'll also sense that we have a closeness that's beyond the norm. But if you're around us too, what you're going to find out, Greg's been around my family. Greg is family, but he's been around my family. But you don't know how much word I constantly spit into this family either. You don't know how much God I talk into this family either. And but there's definitely favor upon us. And I'm going to say some things that won't sit right, but we have a closeness that makes those people who marry into our family uncomfortable at first.
Mm.
And some people struggle with it, some people get over it, and some people never will. Now, this is the conversation I had with my daughter yesterday. But let me tell you something, this favor, I didn't do it. My son would like to say, you built this thing. I didn't build anything. I see you, Lenny Blackwell. God bless you. This favor that's on my family, the Lord did it.
Amen.
And let me tell you something, Greg. I don't talk about it because I don't really trip on it, but I have to remind my family every now and then. People target us. People watch us for some reason. People talk about us. You don't know how many times I go in Leavenworth and somebody will tell me something people were saying about me and my family that was negative. And it's people that I don't even talk to or deal with. People lie on us. But let me tell you something, all of that stuff that's going on, it doesn't erase the promises and the favor that the Lord has placed upon us. Again, I'm not talking about my family, y'all. Y'all just hold on. I told Alicia to never despise the favor that the Father has placed on her life. That the folks that choose to reject her, truthfully, was never meant to be a part of her life. And truthfully, she don't want them there.
That's right.
So Brown, stop talking about your folks and tell these folks what you want to show them. Look, I thought of Joseph this morning, and again, this is for the person in this room that feels like an outcast to people. It seems like people are always targeting you, talking about you. Your family handles you funny, and on and on and on. I thought of Joseph. Joseph was rejected by his brothers because their father favored him. And what am I saying to somebody on this call? There will be people in your life that will never be able to accept God's favor upon you.
Amen.
There may be a reason that they're willing to walk with you for a while, right? They'll start out walking with you, but when God begins to promote you because you trust him, y'all heard that, right? Because you trust him, Greg.
Come on.
They'll try to pull you down because God is taking you places like he did Joseph, and they just can't stand it. So if you're wearing a burden of rejection this morning, right? that's been placed upon you by those who should have accepted you, but they didn't. Talking to you now, Alice Brown. And you have tried to reach out and you have been handled funny and you have tried to embrace them and you were denied and lied on. Joseph is talking to you this morning. Joseph is talking to you this morning, not Brown. In those moments of rejection that you, like Joseph, have to stand, what you got to do is you got to stand firm in the faith. That regardless, you are blessed and highly favored. You shouldn't be hanging your head because God is blessing you. That's what I told Leisha. You shouldn't be feeling bad because God is blessing you.
Amen.
What you ought to do is stand up and say, you know what? God's promise is my portion.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes, his goodness and his mercy follows me.
Yes.
And as you look at me, he will never leave me, nor will he forsake. That's the stuff you are telling yourself instead of getting caught up there in how people handle you. Look, the world may not like it.
Yes, Lord.
But what you have, the world didn't give it to you.
Say that.
And you shouldn't allow the world to take it away from you. And I don't care if that's people on the street. I don't care if that's your family members. I don't care if that's your cousins. I don't care if that's your in-laws. I don't care. The world didn't give it to you, so they can't take it away.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Some of y'all can testify this morning that God has been faithful to you, even when you've not been faithful.
Yes, Lord.
Some of y'all can say, you know what? God has been so loving to me, even when I didn't show him love in return.
Yeah.
Some of you can say the Father has been kind to me, even when I've been disrespectful to him.
Yes.
Now look,
It's true.
if that bothers some, I'm gonna take it up with the Father.
Yes.
Wait a minute.